Today we are gonna be creating an entire apartment building, blowing a chunk of it apart and simulating the destruction, adding some particle detail and then finally rendering out an amazing destruction effect. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Okay, so to start, I'm going to delete the light and the camera, then select the cube, go into edit mode and scale the cube 3 times bigger, something like this. Now I'm going to scale it down on the Z axis and then I'm going to select this front face and press I to insert it. Maybe wait, let me enable screencast keys so you guys can see the keys that I'm going to press here, and then maybe I can enable X-ray view mode and I'm going to extrude it out on the Y axis to create some space for the balcony. And then I'm going to add 2 loop cuts here to give some more geometry, and to create windows I'm going to select these 2 faces and I'm going to press I on my keyboard to insert these faces, and now I'm going to set the transform pivot point to individual origin so I can scale these faces individually. And now I'm going to scale them to something like this and place them here. And to add some details on this window, we can extrude it something like this, and then we can insert it one time and then extrude it again one more time, and I'm going to insert it again and same like before, extrude it by pressing E. And yes, something like this. And maybe I can enable cavity. And now to add some more details, I'm going to add one face here and same on the other side, and you guys can use the you guys can use the mirror modifier to get these details. Like if I go into front mode and I'm going to add a loop cut here on the front side, and then I'm going to select this side and delete it, then come to modifiers tab, add a mirror modifier, and you guys will get that. Make sure to click on clipping, make sure it's enabled, and then we can go into edit mode. And now I'm going to add one loop cut here. Now if you guys change anything here, it will automatically change on this side as well, so you guys don't have to do it on both sides. And now I'm going to press I twice to insert them individually, and now I'm going to extrude them out something around here. And now you guys can see that's automatically applied here on this side as well. And now I'm going to apply the mirror modifier and then go into edit mode again. And now I'm going to select this edge by clicking 2 times on it, and then I'm going to press X on my keyboard and I'm going to click on dissolve edges to dissolve that edge. And now to create a door, I'm going to select these 2 faces and press I to insert them. Make sure to press I again so that it's not inserting them individually. And then I'm going to insert it something around here, and then press S and X on your keyboard to scale it on the X axis. And then I'm going to extrude it out and insert it, extrude it again one more time, insert and extrude it. And now we can add a loop cut here on this side, then select these faces and extrude them on the Z axis to something around here. And then I'm going to add a cube here, so press shift plus A and then add a cube, and then I'm going to place it here, scale it down, and then I'm going to scale it on the X axis to make it longer. And we get kind of a rail here, so now I'm going to duplicate this then press RX, then press RY and 90 to rotate it on the 90 degree. Then I am going to scale it on the Z axis and then move it down, and then I'm going to place it on the end here, and then come to modifiers tab, add an array modifier, set the X value to 0 and increase the Z value, and then increase the count, and maybe I can make it thinner, and then again increase the count, and now I'm going into edit mode and select these faces, and I am going to delete them so we can see the inside. And now I'm going to add a array modifier and set the count to 4, and then I'm going to add a array again, another array modifier, but this time set the X value to 0 and increase the Z value, set it to something like 1, and again increase the count. You guys get the point. And now to get this rail as well, I'm going to select these two objects, then select this one and press Ctrl plus J on my keyboard to join these together. Make sure to select all of these objects and apply their scale so that you guys won't face any issues. So then press Ctrl plus J and make sure to apply the array modifier of this object as well. Then select these two and press Ctrl plus J and you guys will get this. And now we need some geometry here, because for now if you guys go into edit mode, you guys can see we don't have a lot of geometry here, so that's not going to work for destruction. So what we have to do is first apply the array modifiers and then add a subdivision surface modifier, and this will make your apartment look like this. So to get your exact mesh that you guys have created, what you guys can do is, instead of using this feature, we can use simple. Make sure to set it to simple so you guys will get your exact same geometry without that. And then we are going to set the level viewport to 3 and then apply the subdivision surface modifier. And now you guys can see we have some geometry that we can use to fracture it. Okay, so now select your object, come to the front view and go into edit mode, and now select the part that you guys want to fracture. So in my case I wanted to fracture it from something around here, so I'm going to press C on my keyboard to get this circle, select mode, and I'm going to select this part and make sure you guys are in wireframe mode, so you guys select all the geometry. If you guys have a good PC, you guys can select the whole building if you guys want, but my PC isn't able to handle that, so I'm going to select a small part here just to show you guys how you guys can destroy something. So I'm going to select this part. Something more than that will be too much for my PC, so I'm going to select only this part. Maybe I can reduce it more, small area, something around here, these two apartments. Now press 3 on your keyboard to come to this view and go into wireframe mode again, and now I'm going to press C on my keyboard to get this circle select mode, and I'm going to press shift on my keyboard while holding shift. If I select these faces, you guys can see these faces gets deselect. So I'm going to do this because I don't want these back faces, and I'm going to deselect them something around here because I only want the front side, not the back side. And once you guys are happy with your selection, just press P on your keyboard and separate it by selection. And now I'm going to come here, object, then quick effects, and I'm going to click on quick explode. And now I'm going to hide this object for now. And now if you guys press play on your keyboard, you guys can see it's getting destroyed at 100 pieces, and you guys can see it in the particle system. The number is 100. The more amount it will be, the more pieces it will get fractured in. So you guys have to increase the number, and I'm going to set it to 800. You guys can go more than this if you guys want, but again my PC isn't able to handle it, so I'm going with low settings for now. As you guys can see, now it's fracturing at 800 pieces, as you guys can see here. But we actually don't want them to fracture apart like this, so come to physics in the particle system and set the physics type to none for now. Make sure to save your project file now, because Blender can crash because we are going to on the simulation part. So make sure you guys save the file. And now come to modifiers tab, apply this explode modifier and this particle system, and then come to particle properties and remove this particle system. Now if you guys go into edit mode, you guys can see it's fracturing. You guys can see the geometry, and I'm going to click separate it by loose parts. And now if you guys can see, these parts are really flat like a paper, so we need to add some thickness to it as well. And now press A to select every single object here. Make sure you guys don't have selected this object, and then select any of these objects so that it's get highlighted in this yellow color. Now come to modifiers tab, add a solidify modifier to give it some thickness around here, and I'm going with something like this, 0.09 or 0.08, and then you guys can press Ctrl plus S, and now you guys can press Ctrl plus L on your keyboard and click on copy modifiers. Or you guys can come to modifiers tab, come here and click on this icon, and you guys can click on copy to selected as well, and this will add the solidify modifier on all of the selected objects. And maybe I'm going to reduce the thickness 0.03, and then again press come here, click on copy to selected, and then I'm going to press right click, come to convert to, and click on mesh to apply these modifiers. Or you guys can use press Ctrl plus A on your keyboard, and you guys can click on visual geometry to mesh to apply these modifiers. These are two different methods, you guys can use any of these. Okay, so now before we simulate anything, now if you guys can see, the origins are not correct, so I'm going to select every object by pressing A on my keyboard, and then I'm going to press Ctrl plus A and apply all the transforms, and then come to object and then set origin, and then origin to center of mass surface. So now to simulate them, we are going to use rigid body simulation. So come to object and then rigid body and click on add active to add rigid body physics here on all of these objects. And now to make these edges now to make some edges stay there still, so we can select these edges by going into edit mode and selecting these parts of our mesh. And then if you guys come to edit, then preferences and input, and if you guys are using emulate 3 mouse button, make sure to disable it for some time, just for a second. Then come here, make sure you guys have selected all of those objects, then hold alt on your keyboard and then click on animated, so that all of these selected objects will get this property, and then we can enable it back again. Now if you guys select these parts, you guys can see the animated is checked on them, but if you guys select any of these from the center, the animated isn't enabled, as you guys can see here. And now if you guys come to solid mode and press play, and you guys will get your physics, and as you guys can see, some of those edges are still there, but they are attracting with the simulation. And I think maybe we can select some of these ground area, and I think we can select some of the objects from this area and add some rough edges to it as well. So I'm going to select this part, and then edit preferences. This part is needed if you guys are using this M3 mouse button, and I'm using it because my middle mouse button doesn't work, so I'm going to disable it for now. Then hold alt and click on animated, then I'm going to enable it again. And now if you guys press play, these will stay here, but still they can interact with these objects. And we have this destruction. Now to make the explosion be a bit more violent and throw pieces out, we can add a collision object. So I'm going to enable this object, and then I'm going to add a collision object. I'm going to use icosphere, and then come to physics tab, add a rigid body physics, and make sure to check animated as well, and then scale it up and place it here on the area. Maybe I'm going to scale it down, something like this will work, I think. And now if you guys press play, you guys will see that now you guys can hide this object for now, hide this icosphere. Maybe I'm going to hide it, and now if you guys press play, you guys can see. And now you guys can see we have this. And now one more thing we can do is I'm going to enable this icosphere, and I'm going here press I on my keyboard and then press play. GY and move it here. Press I again to add a keyframe. Now if you guys press play, and you guys can see they are getting thrown like this. Yeah, that's kinda cool. If you guys want, you guys can add this. Now if I delete the icosphere, come back to first frame, press play, you guys can see they will stay there on their position and they will get exploded on their still position. But if you guys add this icosphere and animate it just like I did and then press play, you guys will see the result. Just like this, they are getting thrown by it. Now if you guys want, these objects will get destroyed by this icosphere. Like these objects now, if for now, if you guys press play, you guys can see these objects first get destroyed, but after when the icosphere hit them, they get pushed. But if you guys want these objects to get destroyed by the icosphere, what you guys can do is come to scene properties, and then come to rigid body world, and then come to cache. Here you guys will see the simulation start and the simulation end frame. But now if you guys select your icosphere, and if you guys see the hitting position, it's at frame 7, so we can set the simulation start frame to 7. If I set it to maybe I'm going to increase it to 40 or maybe 30, we can set it to 30, and then I'm going to set the simulation start to 30, and you guys can set it to whatever you guys want. And then I'm going to the first frame and then press play. If you guys see, the simulation isn't started yet. If you guys see on my frames, I'm getting 24 frames that usually we get when we don't have simulation in our scene. You guys can see the simulation isn't started yet, but once we hit the frame 30, you guys can see it's get stuck. So the simulation is starting from the frame 30, and you guys can see that it's getting thrown by it. Now if we come back a bit, and we can see that our icosphere is hitting the wall at frame 18, so I'm going to set the simulation start to 18, or maybe I can set it to 19, but I'm going with 18. Now if you guys come back and press play, you guys will get and now if you guys press play, if you guys won't see anything, that means you guys have to reset the simulation. So to reset the simulation, select any of these objects, go into edit mode and come back to object mode, then press play again, and you guys will get it. And now you guys can see the building is getting destroyed by the icosphere. And you guys can see it's getting interacted by the icosphere here as well. And yes, that's how you guys can delete them. And here you guys can see the edges that we selected, and we clicked on animated. You guys can see they are still here, but we can see that they are getting destroyed. Now the simulation is baked. If I press play, you guys can see the animation more without the lag, and here we have it. Now if you guys can add a ground to give it some collision to it. Okay, so to add some more cool details like some debris, we are going to use some particle system. So I'm going to use the UV sphere as an emitter, so add it, and then come to particle system, add a new particle system to it, and then I'm going into edit mode, press 1 on your keyboard to come to the front view, then enable X-ray view mode, and I'm going to delete half of it, something around here, half of the object, delete it, and then I'm going to scale it down on the Z axis, and then press Ctrl plus A and apply the scale. We want all these particles to be emitted at frame 18 because our simulation is starting from frame 18. So come to particle system and set the start frame to 18 and the end frame to 18 as well, so that it starts and then stops suddenly. And the number we can set it to 2000, but again if you guys have a good PC, you guys can increase this amount to get a better result, but my PC can't handle it, so I'm going with a low amount of value for now. Maybe I can go with 1500, and then the lifetime, I'm going to set the lifetime to, now if you guys can see our simulation is ending at frame 250, So I'm going to set the lifetime to frame 250 so that all the debris will get disappear after frame 250. And I am going to come to velocity, and I'm going to set the velocity to 10 and randomize to 5. Make sure you guys are saving your file side by side because Blender can crash anytime. Now to select the particles, I'm going to select some of these objects. So I'm going to the wireframe mode, press C and select any of these objects and press Shift plus D to duplicate them and place them out of your scene so that no one sees them, no one won't be able to see them. And then press M on your keyboard to create a new collection and name it debris. Now if you guys want, you guys can create your own object as a debris and you guys can use that as well. And then I'm going to select the emitter that we are going to use, and then I'm going to come to render and change the render as hello, change it to collection instead of hello, and instance collection will be our debris collection here. And then I'm going to increase the scale of it. Make sure you guys come to frame 18 to see the result, and I'm going to increase the scale and increase the scale randomness, and then I'm going to scale this emitter up so that it can match the area of it. And maybe we can increase the scale a bit more. Make sure you guys are saving your file side by side. And we also want them to have some rotation, random rotation. So come here, enable rotation, and then set the phase to all the way up to 1 and set the randomize phase to 2 and enable dynamic. Then come to angular velocity and set the axis to random and increase the amount to something like 20 maybe. That's fine. And then I am going to rotate it on the x axis by 90 degree, and I'm going to place it here. Then press 3 to come to this view and go to the wireframe mode and place it at the center of our explosion. And again you guys just have to play with the scale value and you guys will get your result. Just play with its scale. And also if you guys want, you guys can use your own emitter object as well. And for now I'm going to use this circle, this UV sphere that I cut it half. So yeah, now you guys can come to material properties. Now you guys have to come to the particle properties. Now if you guys don't want this emitter objects to do not show, like if you guys want it to, and I'm going to place it something around here. Now if you guys don't want this emitter object to show like the UV sphere, you guys can come to particle properties and uncheck this show emitter box. Now you guys will only see this these particles in your final render, not this UV sphere. So now if you guys press play, come to the first frame and make sure to select any of these objects, then go into edit mode to reset the simulation, because if you guys don't do this, all the simulation will get messed up. And also make sure to select your emitter object and apply its scale. And now what we can do is just come to the first frame and press play, or maybe come to scene and in the rigid body world come down into cache and click on bake to apply to bake the simulation. And here you guys have your, and now also we can add a ground as a emitter. So I'm going to add a plane and then move it down to the ground, to the bottom of our plane. And then we can come to physics tab, add a rigid body physics, set the type to passive and set the shape to mesh to it can get the shape of this mesh. Also you guys can add this to your building as well, rigid body, type to passive, and shape to mesh, so that these objects will get so that these objects will get interacted by this object as well. And now you guys can press play on your keyboard, or you guys can or you guys can now you guys can press play on your keyboard, or you guys can bake the simulation. And I'm going to press play. And again, make sure to select any of the single object, and then go into edit mode to reset the simulation. I'm going to select it, go into edit mode and reset the simulation. Then I'm going to save the file, and then I'm going to press play. And now you guys can render it out if you guys want. So yeah, that's it for today's video. If you guys have learned something, make sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, peace out.